Hey everyone, welcome back to Notice This, where hope is not a strategy and neither is just waiting to get paid. I'm Kat and today I'm taking you to Colorado. Beautiful mountains, definitely some great skiing, and well, some sneaky mechanics lane rules that can really hurt subcontractors and suppliers if you're not paying attention. If you're doing work in Colorado and you think you're protected just because there's lien rights, you might want to stick around. There's a big catch that not a lot of people know about. This video is for you if you are a subcontractor, material supplier, or even a GC who wants to understand how the money flows on a project. We are going to cover what Colorado actually requires before you file a lien, why a preliminary notice is technically optional but practically essential, and how you can end up only being able to lien what the GC is still owed, which might be nothing. So let's clear this up first and get the easy part out of the way. Colorado does not have one of those strict early preliminary notice deadlines like most other states where no notice equals no lien. Instead, the one notice that is required to enforce a mechanic's lien in Colorado is the notice of intent to lien. Before you record your lien, you have to send this notice of intent to the property owner and the GC or prime contractor. It has to go out at least 10 days before you actually record your lien in the county records. So think of it as like a final warning. Pay me in the next 10 days or I'm definitely going to be recording this lien on your property. If you skip that step, your lien rights are just going to be in some serious trouble, so don't skip it. Next up, I will be going over the lien and just timing in general. I'm not going to go over every tiny exception, but here's just the general idea in Colorado. If you only provided labor and your lien deadline might be as short as about 2 months from your last day of work. And if you provided materials or labor and materials, then you generally have about 4 months from last furnishing to record your lien. And remember, the notice of intent has to be sent out at least 10 days before that lien deadline. So if you like to wait until the last second, Colorado is not the state to play that game with. So now let's talk about the part that everyone gets confused on. Do I have to send a preliminary notice in Colorado legally? For subs and suppliers, no. A traditional early preliminary notice is not required to have lien rights, but practically, if you want to protect yourself, especially as a subcontractor or supplier, I'm going to say yes, treat it like it is required. And here's why. When you're a sub, your lien rights in Colorado are tied to the GC's contract with the owner. So think of that contract as a pot of money. If the owner has already paid the pot out to the GC before you show up with your lien, there may not be anything left in that pot to satisfy your claim. So what does an early preliminary notice do for you? It puts the owner and or disperser of funds on notice that you're on the job. It can require them to hold back enough money from the GC to cover your claim. It just makes it much harder for all of the money to walk out the door before you're paid. And it just makes sure you're paid for what you are owed. So yes, as a sub or supplier in Colorado, you can technically wait and only send a notice of intent right before you lien. But by then, the owner may have already paid the GC in full, and your lien might be chasing an empty pot. Let's make it real and run through a scenario. You're a subcontractor. You do $100,000 worth of work. The GC has a $500,000 contract with the owner. Scenario A is you send the preliminary notice. The owner knows you're there and funds can be held back to cover what you're owed. If a payment issue pops up, there is a much better chance that there's still money in the pot to pay your claim. Scenario B is you don't send a prelim and just cross your fingers. The owner happily pays the GC as they go, but by the time you're unpaid and angry, the GC has already been paid out almost in full. So you record a lien, but there may only be a small amount or nothing left under the GC contract. On paper, you do have lien rights, but in reality, there's just not much left to grab. And that is why in Colorado, preliminary notices are highly recommended for subs and suppliers, even though they're not technically required. So a quick recap, a notice of intent to lien is required at least 10 days before you record the lien. Don't miss that step. Lien deadlines, generally 2 to 4 months from last furnishing, depending on what you provided. The preliminary notice is not required by state statute, but if you are a sub or supplier, it can be the difference between getting paid and chasing an empty bank account. So just send it, your bank account will thank you later. As always, this video is just general information, it's not legal advice. Every project is definitely different, so when in doubt, you can always reach out to me. I'm happy to help answer any questions. And Nationwide Notice is also affiliated with a law firm, so if you wanted to talk to a construction attorney, I'd be happy to put you in contact. If you found this helpful, hit the like, subscribe button, and send this to a GC who just always waits until the last second. And as always, hope is not a strategy. See you in the next state.